this is the first of the 10 questions that I've designed. So we have two functions, f and g. I will zoom in. Are given as fx is 5x squared minus 6x minus 11 and gx is x squared minus 7. There's two parts to this question. I've assigned 1 mark to question A and 4 marks to question B, but just as a disclaimer, these are not this is the number of marks that I would assign to the questions. In an exam, it might be more or less, but roughly, I would give this 5 marks, and I will explain how I think the SQA would give these marks. So the first one is to evaluate g of minus 3. If you want to pause the video, you're welcome to do so. Your opportunity to do so is now. So I'm going to do A. So we have the function g of x equals x squared minus 7. The idea is, if we want g of minus 3, we have to swap the x for the minus 3. So this x becomes a minus 3, and we then put minus 3 all squared minus 7. There is a common mistake that pupils make, and I will show you this in just 1 second. So minus 3 all squared, well, two negatives make a positive. That's minus 3 times minus 3 is 3 times 3 is 9. Minus 7 is 2. And the first mark is as simple as that. You would get 1 mark. You get 1 mark for that. So that's 1 mark. But a common mistake that many make would be they would write this. Now, because of BODMAS, this is minus 3 squared, and that equals minus 9, because you do the 3 squared, then the minus goes after, like that. So minus 3 squared is not equal to this. It's a common thing that many pupils get wrong, but I've shown you this so you don't want to make the same mistake in an exam. I'll take this away because that's an add-on. So this is the first part. The second part is to solve the equation f of x equals g of minus 3. Two things I want to point out about this question. The first word in the question says hence. Now, in a mathematical context, hence means you use the answer that you've found in the past and you use that as part of this question. So because it said hence, we're going to use the answer that we found in A in order to assist us in this. And if it says hence, you have to use the answer that you've used in the past section. You have to make use of it. So we have g of minus 3 is 2, so we can substitute like this. So f of x is 5x squared minus 6x minus 11. And g of minus 3 is 2. If you're observant, you should notice that this is a quadratic equation, but if we want to solve a quadratic equation, we have to get 0 on the right hand side. So if we take 2 away, we're going to get 5x squared minus 6x minus 13. And we can then solve this. It's at this point that I would give mark number 2. When I say mark number 2, I mean the first of the 4 marks available in section B, but the first mark is in A. The first mark of B is this number 2. Now, it does say give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. This serves as a direction and as a hint. It's a direction because we have to give it to 2 decimal places. Otherwise, you will lose at least one of the marks in the question. But if you're told to give the answer correct to 2 decimal places, and as you see above, this is a calculator question. I've deemed this question as such that it would come up in a calculator exam. You would have to use the formula. It's highly unlikely that you would be able to factorize it. So if it says give the answer correct to 2 decimal places, that's a massive hint. Use the quadratic formula. So we're going to use that, and what we first want to do is we're going to compare with ax squared plus bx plus c. Because if we have a look, this is the quadratic formula, and you are given it on the equation sheet. So you don't have to learn this one, but you do have to know how to use it. So we have to find the values of A, B, and C. You see 5 and A match up, so A equals 5. Be careful with your positives and your negatives. B and minus 6, so those coefficients marry up, so B is minus 6 and C is minus 13. And I'm going to go on to a new one, a new page. I'm going to copy down the equation. You have to be really careful that you copy this down exactly as it appears on the sheet. You don't want to second guess it because it's easy to forget it or make a mistake. even when I was doing higher, I still would have gotten this wrong if I didn't have the sheet. Now, I'll put these again. We had A is 5, we had B is -6, and we had C is -13. Let's substitute what we have. B is -6, so that's -6 plus minus. The plus minus part implies you get two solutions. We're going to do -6 all squared -4 times 5 times -13. And that is all divided by 2a. Make sure this line separating the fraction goes across the entire of the numerator. So we've substituted in, and you do have to be careful with both your BODMAS and your positives and negatives. So 2 negatives make positive. We're going to evaluate the discriminant. The discriminant being this b squared minus 4ac part. So -6 squared is 36. 4 times 5 is 20, times 13 is 260. 2 negatives make a positive, 260. And dividing this all by 10. So this would get you the third mark for substitution. Then what we can do is we can evaluate to get 296 for the discriminant, and that is the fourth mark, is for getting the number 296. That's going to be mark number 4, and you're going to want to use your calculator to find the two solutions. We'll do 6 plus the square root of 296, all divided by 10 first. So that's the first one, and we get 2.32047. We've got it to 5 decimal places at the minute. Now let's find the second solution. So 6 minus the square root of 296, all divided by 10, gives you minus 1.12047. but the question does ask us to give it to 2 decimal places, so we can't finish there. We have to do to 2 decimal places. X equals 2.32. 0 is less than 5, so round it down. So 2.32 and same here, so minus 1.12. And that is going to be the fifth mark. And that is the final solution to the question. So the solution is 2.32 and minus 1.12. So I hope you found this video useful. I'll show you what we did here and here. And these indicate where I would assign the marks to the questions based on what the SQA have given in the past. I hope you found it useful, and leave a comment if you have any issues. But yeah, thanks for watching. Best of luck with the studying.